what's up guys? Evan here again. This is actually a vintage deck from 1985. This is the Virginia Slims deck, and it's a really nice deck. I've actually got 3 of these, 2 opened and 1 sealed, but I really wish I had a lot more of these. So with that being said, let's get into the review. The box is really simple. The front and the back are just the back design, and it's really simple. The top, you have nothing, and you have a USPCC seal. The side says Virginia Slims playing cards. The other side says the same thing, and the bottom says Philip Morris Inc. 1985. So this was a deck that was printed by Philip Morris for the Virginia Slims cigarette company. So now let's open them up and get into the review. Another thing that you'll notice is that the tab right here is a lot bigger than it is today, and some other decks that have this are the Jerry's Nuggets decks. So now let's take a look at the cards. First, we'll take a look at the ad card. The ad card has a message, and it says, "These Virginia Slims Victorian playing cards have been designed to remind you that there once was a time when women were never ever allowed to play cards, much less smoke an occasional cigarette, but times do change, so cut the cards, and as you deal another hand, remember, you've come a long way, baby." And "You've come a long way, baby" is sort of the slogan, and you'll see it a lot throughout the deck. So now we'll take a look at the Jokers and Ace of Spades. The Jokers are the same, except that one is blue and one is red. So we'll just take a look at one for now. It's a funny looking jester. So the Jokers are sort of weird looking. Now the Ace of Spades is really nice and simple. It's just a spade with VS repeated in it, and that stands for Virginia Slims. And it really creates a nice looking design in the spade. And you'll also notice that every card has this Victorian style design in these 2 spots, and it looks really nice, and I'll get more into that when we look at some of the other cards. And another thing that is interesting about this deck is that all of the aces have this large pip and the VS repeated in the design. So that's something that I really like about this deck, and something that you don't see too often. There's the Ace of Clubs and the Ace of Hearts. Now we'll take a look at the number cards, and you'll see that these are actually fully custom. The pips look really nice, and again you can see that Victorian style design on the cards. Now we'll take a look at the clubs. The clubs are probably my favorite. They just look really nice, and they're just very different from most other decks, and you can take a look at those. Now the diamonds, really nice looking, and here are the spades. Now let's take a look at the court cards. The court cards feature vintage portraits of women in medieval clothing and armor. So you can see right here, they're kind of weird looking, and to me kind of creepy. I really don't like the court cards, but for the theme of the deck, and since this is a promotional deck for a cigarette company in the 80s, it makes sense. So there's the Jack, here's the Queen, and there's the King. So the court cards are definitely different, and they go well with the theme of the deck. Now let's take a look at the back design. The back design is really simple, but it really looks good. It's the slogan, "You've come a long way, baby," repeated over and over again. And if you really look closely, you can see that. And it's a really clever idea, and it really looks great. So there is your back design. It's a really nice looking design, and it's still really simple. So now that we've seen the design of the deck, let's take a look at the handling. Now, since this is a deck from 1985, it handles differently than a lot of the decks that are made currently. The deck doesn't have air cushioning, and it's actually a smooth finish. So if you look really closely, you can see that there are no dimples that you would see with a deck that is air cushioned, and you can see it on the back here. So that is something that's pretty interesting. So it's a smooth finish, and it seems like it's almost plastic coated. I don't know if it is or not, but it seems like it is. A lot of times plastic coated decks don't handle well, but this handles really, really nicely. And one thing that is great about this deck is that the more you use it, the better it seems to handle, and it's a really, really long-lasting deck. I've been using this for a very long time and been using it a lot. So let's take a look at the handling. It fans really nicely, and I like how that Victorian design shows in your fans when you fan showing the face. And the design shows in the back as well, which is a very cool thing. The stock feels very, very thin, which makes it really easy to spring and dribble the deck, and great to pressure fan the deck. This is probably the easiest deck to pressure fan because the stock is super soft and super thin, so you can get very nice and easy pressure fans. It's also really good for lapel spreads. The deck ferros very nicely and easily. As you can see, you can get a very nice ferro with the deck, and it's not too bad for giant fans. So you can see you can get some pretty nice giant fans. It looks alright, but nothing too special in giant fans. So this has been my review of the Virginia Slims playing cards. These actually come in two colors. You can get them in this red and orange or red and gold color. It's kind of hard to tell what the color is. And you can also get it in a blue and gold color. The blue and gold are sort of harder to find than these ones, but if you look on eBay, they pop up every now and then. So thank you guys for watching. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe.